Warning: the following video has not been approved by the Comic Code Authority and is intended for mature audiences. Viewer discretion is advised.
What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of The Comic Assassin. Doing some things a little different today. It's fall break. We got the kids home. Turns out my youngest son is sick again, so he's downstairs sleeping. So I knew if I was in my normal spot, I wouldn't get anything done. But I had to come back at y'all. It's Monday. This is the normal day where I'll let you know about some of the news that's going on, as well as what books you might want to be looking for this upcoming Wednesday. But with the changes, I don't know how the lighting's going to look, if the sound's going to be the same. So please do forgive me for that. I don't intend for this to be a normal thing, but sometimes you just have to roll with the flow, Alright, so okay, what's going on in the news? I guess the big thing, the Joker movie, right? Did you see it? I haven't seen it yet. I have not seen it, but I've continued to hear good things. It did break the October opening weekend box office records, so that's got to tell you something. People are going out and watching it. And you know what you're not seeing? You're not seeing all this mass hysteria going on in the theaters. I think the only story that I've seen was a theater in California got evacuated because some dude just walked up into the front of the theater and just started staring down everybody, and he had a backpack on. Which, first off, how do you get a backpack in the theater? You would think if they were heightening security, you wouldn't be able to get in with a backpack. And this, I don't know, the last few times I've gone to the theater, it seems like anybody could just walk on in and not even watch a movie without even paying. Because nowadays it's like there's no one actually checking your tickets, at least where I go. So, but anyway, nothing crazy happened. It's doing good in the box office. Good Joker. Let's see. There was this comment. This is kind of hot. Martin Scorsese came out and said that he didn't like comic book movies and he did not find them to be considered cinema. And then, of course, as you can imagine, he's getting backlash from a lot of people. Samuel L. Jackson has chimed in. James Gunn has chimed in. But I think one of my favorites was Jonathan Hickman. Jonathan Hickman, and you can find this, I think he tweeted it out, basically came in and kind of did like a word-for-word play on what he was saying and related it into eating like hot wings. And he did a good job. I mean, it is cinema. You might not like it, and that's totally fine, but Martin Scorsese was saying that it wasn't cinema because it wasn't portraying emotion. And if you can't watch some of these comic movies and get the feeling of the emotion that's being portrayed, then I don't know what you're watching. But that's all over the place. Everybody's responding back to Martin Scorsese. And I like him. I think he's done some great work. Do not get me wrong. I just thought it was dumb of him to say. But everybody is entitled to their own opinion. I'll leave it at that. There have been some more teasers for the Spider-Man 3 movie. Last time we talked about how TiVo from Lord of the Long Box said that they were possibly looking at Chameleon as well as Kraven the Hunter, which personally I wish they would not do. I wish that Chameleon would be great. Kraven would be great. Together, I think it's going to be too much. But this comes from Amy Pascal, who was the producer from Far From Home. She kind of hinted that we might be seeing a Sinister Six. Which could be dope. Which could be a dope freaking movie if done right. But like I said before, I just knowing that this is the last movie for Spider-Man in the MCU, I would hope they would do it right where the movies that come afterwards, even though they're not with the MCU, still have some type of flow. Right? And I would think that Sinister Six would have been a great movie. Basically, you have so many characters, make it a multi-part movie where you can actually have some character development to some of these villains. But that's just my opinion. Let's see. Suicide Squad. Idris Elba. There was some... I think it had been rumored that he was going to be playing Deadshot because Will Smith isn't returning. But some of the leaked info is suggesting that he will be playing Vigilante. And there's been a lot of characters who have played Vigilante in the past. But he's going to be playing the Donald Fairchild one, apparently. Which his first appearance was Vigilante Southland #1. It's still a pretty easily, cheap, attainable book that you can get, if that's the one he's going to be doing. This is all speculation. There's also some other characters that were mentioned. Mongol, Javelin, Blackguard. I believe there was like one or two other that they mentioned might be on this team. So yeah, there's a lot of cool stuff, and a lot of these books are cheap. You can go get some of these first appearances, and if they do hit, you might be able to make some money. So keep that in mind. Speaking of money, the Infinity Saga box set. Apparently, Best Buy accidentally leaked out or put out an advertisement for this box set, and they weren't supposed to, and now you can't find it, but the pictures are already out there. But basically, it's going to be a box set. It's going to contain all 23 movies. I think there's a lithograph, a letter from Kevin Feige, as well as an audit or a signed, like the signed box or something. And I'm going to get back to that in a minute. But the price of this is $550. Right? So it is not cheap. But once you break it down, just the movies alone, the 23 movies, I mean, you're looking at roughly, $20-something per disc, which isn't too bad considering that it is 4K, Blu-ray capable DVDs that they're putting out in there. But what's interesting to me is when they're advertising this signed thing, it's got Chris Evans, Scarlett Johansson, Robert Downey Jr., Mark Ruffalo, Jeremy Renner, and did I get them all? Yeah, Mark Ruffalo, Jenner. Oh, and Chris Hemsworth. So all 6 of the major Avengers have signed it. Now, if it is actually truly signed and not a reprint of a signature, that almost pays for itself right there. To get all those people's signature one by one would far exceed probably the cost of this box. So I'm really interested if it's an actual real signature or if it's a reprint of a signature that was just mass produced for this box set. Because if it's a real authentic signature, it seems like a no-brainer for a lot of collectors. But other than that, we did have New York Comic Con. Just got done wrapping up. I know some people had a real good time. I've heard a lot of complaints that the panels were just really dull and no real exciting news really came out of this con, which is kind of different from what it has been in the years past. I did hear, and this goes out to Anthony and Pollo over at Comics Heating Up, that they were talking about there was 2 shows that might be coming out. One was Long Lost, which was, I believe that was a Scout comic book that's going to Amazon. And there's also Sheltered, which I believe was an Image book. I believe, but I think it had been optional a long time ago. It kind of died down, but apparently it's heating back up where it might be a TV show. Both those first issues of those books can be obtained pretty cheap, especially Sheltered. You can get it for $4.99 plus shipping right now on eBay. So if you're interested in any of those shows or those books, that's the only real news I really heard from in the New York Comic Con. Other than they did play the first episode of The Watchmen. And apparently people thought it was really action-packed. But they did it. They did the one thing. When I saw the trailer, I was like, please don't tell me that's where they're going. And that's where they're going. And to me, I said this was going to be a make it or break it thing for me. I'm still going to give it a chance. But the group of people who are wearing the Rorschach mask are basically the white supremacists. And I was like, really? You really had to take one of my favorite characters from Watchmen and you had to taint it with that, So I'm super disappointed in that decision that they made, but it might still be an entertaining show, so who knows. Let's see. toy news. And I don't normally talk toys, but this is pretty cool. So Hasbro is coming out with a new Legends, Marvel Legends run of action figures. They're doing a lot of Fantastic Four stuff, but they're doing a Stan Lee action figure. And it looks awesome. I think this one's going to come out in spring 2020. I think the retail price is roughly around $24.99, which is kind of weird because all the other ones are like $19.99, but for some reason for Stanley they're making it $5 more expensive, which I don't think is cool, but I got to pick up one of those. So check out in spring 2020, we're going to get us a Stanley action figure, and I think it was pretty well done too. Nothing really going on with the books. I guess the main thing with the books, and we'll talk a little bit about that when I come up with my week's picks coming right up, but Powers of X, House of X is wrapping up this week, and basically they have announced that Wolverine will also get his own ongoing series with this whole Dawn of X thing. So let me know what you guys think. I haven't caught up on the reading. I think I have 2 issues left to finish up. Well, plus what's coming out this week to finish up the whole story arc. But we know there's going to be a lot of stuff following it. You know, we have the Marauders, we have the New Mutants. There's 5 or 6 of them that are coming out. All these individual teams. Let me know, are there any ones that you're excited about, or if there's any ones that you're not excited about. Because I know for me, it was kind of hard enough just doing the House of X, Powers of 10 run week after week after week, and buy all the other stuff that I wanted to buy. You drop 5, 6 different books a week, or they might stagger it. You kind of have to pick just 1 or 2 or a few and run with it. I might get issue 1 for all of them, but there's no way I can keep up with all those different ongoing titles. So I gotta make some decisions. So which ones are y'all excited about? And which ones are you not? Alright, so what's coming out this week? A lot of stuff's coming out. Especially, we'll start with indie. We have a Dead Legends #1. This is from a Wave Blue World, which I've never heard of that publisher. It's #1. I might skim through it and give it a chance. We have Ginseng Roots #1 from Uncivilized Books. It's one I'm once again, I was just kind of intrigued because this is kind of an autobiography almost in comic form. It's basically about this guy who he picked ginseng, and they sold it to China, on the black market, all this stuff as a kid. And that's what actually gave him money to buy his comics and gave him an appreciation for comics. And now he's actually writing his own comic. And so it's kind of a tale of, him and his brother and also the business. And it seems it's an interesting, different take on a comic book. So I might check this one out. Shoplifters Will Be Liquidated #1 from Aftershock. It seems like it has an interesting premise. I think they pretty much said it's like, imagine Judge Dredd working at Amazon. So it might be interesting. Aftershock comes out with some good books from time to time. Might be worth checking out. Then the ones that are no-brainers for me. Redneck #24. I believe this is the end of the story arc. Maybe not the series, but the current story arc. Been loving me some Redneck. Picking that one up. And then Reaver #4 comes out. So those are 2 books I'm definitely picking up because I've been enjoying the reads. But my 2 top picks for indie, and the first one is Victor Crowley's Hatchet, Halloween Tales. And I like the Shining parody cover they have on this one. This is from American Mythology. It's Halloween. I love me some horror books. I kind of dig the Shining parody cover. Actually, I just got done reading The Shining. You know what I found interesting about the book versus the old Jack Nicklaus rendition of it? 3 of the major things from the movie never happened in the book. So the one scene where you have the 2 twins, the 2 girl twins standing in the hallway, Danny's riding up on a scooter and he sees the twins there, that never happened in the book. The whole, when she comes and she finds the play and she sees the all work no play makes Jack a dull boy, that never happened in the book. And lastly, when old Jack Nicholson is hammering away at the door, and he puts his head in there like this parody cover, and he says, "Here's Johnny." That never happened in the book. So I was like, wow, like there was a lot of stuff that was iconic about that movie that just never happened in the book. Anyway, I'm digressing a little bit. So yeah, those are my other indie book, Spawn 301. You got to get this one, if in my opinion. Go with whatever cover you want. I know that cover A is awesome. It's the the ASM 301 homage cover. There's also a Spawn cover H that's cover price, but they're showing the exact same cover. So I have no idea what's different between H and cover A. But there's other ones. I do kind of like that Clayton Crane book. That Campbell cover is pretty sweet too. But if I had to pick between the two, I might actually go with that Clayton Crane. So moving on to DC, right off the bat, speaking of Watchmen, they have Watchmen #1 coming out for $1. I love these dollar reprints. They're cheap ways for you to get a book, put them in your collection. Reprints sometimes can become money. So might want to keep that one on your radar. We have Batman's Grave #1 coming out. It's got Warren Ellis writing it, so it might be interesting. But it might be one I'm skipping, to be honest with you. Joker Harley Criminal Sanity #1. This is the DC Black Label book. It seems like it has a pretty interesting storyline. What I don't like is you have two Harley Black Label books drop week after week. And they're both #1s. And they both deal with Harley and they both deal with the Joker. So to me, I thought it was just bad timing to have both those drop, immediately after each other. Give it a little bit of space. But my two top DC books, I'm going to say Secrets of Sinister House #1. I'm digging that cover where you got Joker kind of holding the candle and you got this evil looking Batman in the background. The only thing is, like always, I do not like that cover price. I think it's like $9.99. And that sometimes can help a book out. That means there might not be as high of a print run on it. Because not a lot of people like to go spend $10 on a book just like that. So, yeah, I would say get it if you're into the whole thing. But if you don't want to drop $10, who knows. But my number one, my biggest DC book is Joker Year of the Villain #1. I'm loving that A cover. This is John Carpenter writing Batman, or writing the Joker, I guess you could say. I'm excited about this one. Will be a definite pickup for me for DC. Now moving on to Marvel, once again, they also have a reprint. Amazing Fantasy 15 facsimiles coming out. I think it'd be a fun read. I dig the facsimile because they do the ads, which separates it from a standard reprint. So yeah, I think this is a really cool book to have in my collection. Also, Amazing Spider-Man 31 is coming out, and with the whole storyline, we know that the Carnage is going back and trying to find out anybody who has ever been attached to a symbiote and retrieving the codex and all that stuff. Well, we knew, about a year ago we had the whole Amazing Spider-Man where Norman Osborn became the Red Goblin. So he's got a little bit of that symbiote DNA in him. So Carnage is eyeing Norman Osborn. And of course, it's a Spidey book. He's going to have something to do with this whole thing. So yeah, I'm going to be picking that one up. Then we have a few #1s. And to me, I'm like, we'll see. Doctor Doom #1 is coming out. So if you're a Doctor Doom fan, go grab it. Me, I'm kind of on the fence. I mean, I like me some Doctor Doom, but this one I might skip on, to be honest with you. And then we have Future Fight First #1. And once again, this is one I'll give some attention to. I'll flip through it. This has White Fox in it. This is not the first appearance of White Fox. I can't remember what issue it was that she first appeared in. It was a few years ago. I remember that. But this isn't her first appearance. But I think this is her first solo story, if I'm not mistaken. So yeah. Yeah, might want to check that one out. But the big one, there's only one gotta have this week when it comes to Marvel, and that's Powers of X, or 10, number 6. Wrapping up the story arc. Let's see how this bad boy ends. I'm probably going to go with that connecting cover just because I got the connecting cover last time. But hey, that's just how I roll. Even though I'm not a super big fan of that connecting cover because they were killing it. Now it's like, eh. Anyway, that's all I really got for y'all. Like I said, I'm sorry if the audio doesn't come out as good on this video or if the lighting doesn't come out as good. Had to make some last minute changes. But hey, I'm dedicated to be here at least every Monday and every Friday making these videos for you guys. And I wasn't going to let a little changes in the schedule try to stop me from doing that. But thanks for checking out. Thanks for all those who have subscribed. You liked, you disliked, leave a comment. I appreciate all y'all so much. And with that being said, this is the Comic Assassin. And this Wednesday, when you roll up to your LCS or online, whatever you got to do to get your books first thing, I'm wishing all y'all happy hunting.